The legalization of marijuana has sparked intense debate worldwide. Proponents champion its medicinal benefits and argue for individual liberty. Opponents, however, voice concerns about potential societal harms. This essay delves into three key arguments against marijuana legalization, examining their validity and exploring counter-arguments. Debates about drug policy are often emotionally charged and intense. It's crucial to approach this issue with a balanced perspective, considering both the potential risks and benefits of marijuana legalization. As marijuana legalization gains momentum, it's more important than ever to engage in informed discussions about its implications. Understanding the arguments on both sides of this complex issue is crucial for shaping responsible and effective drug policies. One of the most pressing concerns surrounding marijuana legalization is the increased potency of modern strains, which has raised alarms among health professionals and researchers alike. Over the past few decades, the concentration of tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC, the psychoactive compound responsible for marijuana's intoxicating effects, has skyrocketed, reaching levels never seen before. This increase in THC potency is linked to a heightened risk of psychosis, particularly among individuals with a predisposition to mental health conditions, making it a significant public health concern. Studies have shown a correlation between high-potency marijuana use and an increased incidence of psychotic episodes, which can be debilitating and life-altering. While more research is needed to establish a definitive causal link, the potential for harm is undeniable and cannot be ignored. Advocates for legalization often argue that marijuana is a natural substance and therefore safe, but this argument overlooks the significant changes in its composition. However, the potency of today's marijuana is far removed from the naturally occurring plant, with much higher levels of THC. The risks associated with high-potency marijuana underscore the need for strict regulation and comprehensive public education campaigns to inform users about the potential dangers and ensure their safety. The gateway drug theory, which posits that marijuana use leads to the use of harder drugs, has been a cornerstone of anti-drug campaigns for decades. This theory has been widely promoted in public service announcements, school programs, and even political speeches, aiming to deter young people from experimenting with marijuana. Proponents of this theory point to statistics showing that individuals who have used marijuana are more likely to have also used other illicit substances. They argue that these numbers provide clear evidence of a progression from marijuana to more dangerous drugs. However, correlation does not equal causation. Just because two events occur together does not mean that one causes the other. Critics of the gateway drug theory argue that this correlation can be explained by other factors, such as shared social circles or underlying risk factors for addiction. They suggest that people who are inclined to use drugs might start with marijuana simply because it is more accessible. They point to Portugal as an example, where decriminalization of all drugs did not lead to an increase in hard drug use. Instead, Portugal saw a decrease in drug-related deaths and a more humane approach to addiction. It's essential to acknowledge that while marijuana may not be a gateway drug in the strictest sense, it can be a risk factor for individuals already predisposed to addiction. This means that personal and psychological factors play a significant role. Addressing underlying issues like trauma, mental health, and social inequality is crucial for preventing substance abuse, regardless of the legal status of any particular drug. Comprehensive support systems can make a significant difference. Further research is needed to disentangle the complex relationship between marijuana use and the use of other substances. Only through rigorous scientific inquiry can we hope to understand the true nature of this relationship. Section 4. Navigating the health maze. Weighing the risks. Beyond the risk of psychosis and the debate surrounding the gateway drug theory, marijuana use is associated with several other potential health risks. These include respiratory problems from smoking, impaired cognitive development in adolescence, and an increased risk of car accidents due to impaired driving. It's important to note that the severity of these risks varies depending on the frequency and method of marijuana use. Smoking, for example, poses greater respiratory risks than vaping or consuming edibles. While these health risks should not be minimized, it's also crucial to put them into perspective. Alcohol and tobacco, both legal substances, are responsible for far more deaths and health problems annually than marijuana. Regulation and control of marijuana, rather than outright prohibition, could provide a framework for mitigating some of these risks. Section 5. Lessons from Lisbon, Portugal's decriminalization experiment. In 2001, Portugal took a radical step by decriminalizing the possession of all drugs, including marijuana. This bold move was unprecedented and marked a significant shift in the global approach to drug policy. Instead of treating drug use as a criminal justice issue, Portugal shifted to a public health approach, focusing on harm reduction and treatment. This meant that drug users were offered support and medical care rather than being punished. The results of Portugal's experiment have been closely watched by policymakers worldwide. Many have been intrigued by the outcomes and have considered similar approaches in their own countries. Contrary to the fears of some, decriminalization did not lead to an explosion in drug use. Instead, it fostered a more open dialogue about drug use and its consequences. In fact, Portugal has seen a decrease in drug-related deaths, HIV infections, and other harms associated with drug use. The public health approach has proven to be more effective in addressing these issues. While Portugal's model is not without its critics, it provides a compelling case study for alternative approaches to drug policy. Critics argue about potential long-term effects, but the immediate benefits are clear. The Portuguese experience suggests that shifting from a punitive to a health-centric approach can be an effective way to reduce the harms associated with drug use. It offers valuable lessons for countries grappling with similar issues. Section 6. The Research Imperative. Filling the knowledge gap. One of the biggest challenges in the debate over marijuana legalization is the lack of comprehensive, long-term research on its effects. Decades of prohibition have stifled scientific inquiry, leaving policymakers and the public with an incomplete picture of the potential benefits and risks of marijuana use. More research is urgently needed to understand the long-term health effects of marijuana use, particularly in light of the increasing potency of modern strains. This research should explore the potential risks and benefits for various populations, including adolescents, pregnant women, and individuals with pre-existing health conditions. Robust scientific evidence is essential for informing evidence-based drug policies that prioritize public health and safety. Section 7. Striking a balance towards informed marijuana policy. The debate over marijuana legalization is complex and multifaceted, with valid arguments on both sides. While proponents highlight potential benefits such as medicinal use and reduced criminal justice system burdens, opponents raise concerns about increased potency, health risks, and societal impacts. A balanced approach to marijuana policy requires careful consideration of all these factors. Rather than resorting to ideological positions, policymakers should prioritize evidence-based decisions that balance individual liberty with public health and safety. The legalization of marijuana is not a magic bullet solution nor a recipe for disaster. It is a complex policy issue with far-reaching consequences that require thoughtful consideration and ongoing evaluation.